Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Virgo energy and just had a clump of cards come out. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Virgo energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy. We've all got free will. We all have to make decisions in our life. And there could be some people right now that are battling within themselves. The bottom row can just represent that we want to stay in our comfort zone, and then, our intuition or a more hopeful, believing nature might want us to move forward in life differently, but we can struggle to step out of our comfort zone, and the bottom row can represent like our fears and our insecurities and our pride and our ego and all those things, and so some people could be struggling within themselves, but other people in the world could be moving forward in life differently than some other people. You could be moving forward in a more high vibrational way compared to some other people in your life that you might think in some way are kind of immature or bossy or controlling or whatever. Those people in turn might be moving forward in a more high vibrational way in relationship to other people in their life that they might view as more immature and prideful or bossy and controlling, right? So it is kind of relative. So, we all learn lessons in life, and you might have distanced yourself from some old ways of being and things that used to manipulate you. Other people could have moved on from some things that manipulate them, but everybody's kind of, in tarot, they kind of talk about these different timelines, but it's kind of like the lessons that you've learned in life, and sometimes you're still not on the same page with people, You can learn lessons, and there's other people who kind of view life still differently than you do because there's some lessons you haven't learned, right? We all can have different levels of things that manipulate us in our life. So anyway, that's how I'm going to read it. You can listen to the story. We all tap into Virgo energy. Virgo is earth sign energy, which can be about what our truth is. In our more worldly Virgo energy, which in our free will we can align with, we can be more caught up in ourselves, the world, things we want to indulge in to make ourselves feel better. In our high vibe nature, we've learned lessons in life, hopefully being more balanced within ourselves, loving ourselves, treating other people we like the way we like to be treated, and it can have to do with our emotional maturity level. So let's see. The reason for the top rose reading is the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is Taurus energy. It's also the reason why the reading came out. And Taurus energy talks about our philosophy of life. And at any given stage of life, we have a certain philosophy of life. And our Taurus energy kind of dictates the decisions that we make in our life, because after debating within ourselves, it's kind of like the Supreme Court in our own head. We've debated in our dualistic nature, and we have a certain philosophy of life. And sometimes we get in relationships with people at one time we could have been on the same page in some ways, and then later we're really not on the same page anymore, and we kind of view life differently. So we have the Seven of Swords, the Three of Swords, the Two of Cups, and the Judgment card. We have to work through our philosophy of life and kind of the way we view life. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, also represented by the Star card. We have a dream. We have an idea that we think will be emotionally fulfilling in our life, right? And again, we could have invested in some people. We thought a dream was going to come into reality, but maybe we weren't really listening to our intuition, and, we were hoping for the best. And then as more time goes by, we could realize that kind of our truth is different. The Four of Swords is Libra energy of what we think is just and fair. We can always move forward. Taurus energy can represent all these different institutions of the world, workplaces, friendships, family dynamics, organizations, relationships. But a lot of these things that affect our philosophy of life, of what we dreamed of, right? And it can be cultural differences, religious differences. All these things affect us and how we view life. And sometimes we can get in relationships with people, and it could just be that neither one of us had learned to really invest in listening to our intuition. We could have lived more from our mind than our heart. We could have been more caught up in the worldly dream, which can just be, I want a job. And I didn't really listen to my intuition. I got a job. And then it's kind of like, oh shit, I don't really want that job. You know, we want friendships, we want relationships. And sometimes we don't listen to our intuition. And it can look good. We can have a lot of things in common. We think it's all going to work out. But then the difference between the Seven of Swords and the Four of Swords, in between there is the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords also is Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice, of what we think is just and fair. And kind of what makes us maybe feel safe within ourselves, stable within ourselves, past pain and heartbreak, self-limiting beliefs. Do we live more from our mind than our heart? Do we live more from our heart than our mind? Are we a little bit more caught up in the world, ourself? Have we learned how to work together with people in a more just and fair, loving way? Did we both have lessons to learn about that? And you know, we come in contact with all these different people to help us get more clear about what our truth is, help them get more clear about what their truth is. And the people that we're kind of on the same page with, that, you know, we can have some differences. We could have gotten in the relationship not realizing that we did have some ways of viewing life that could be different. But if we view each other as people that, I think your truth is, you're motivated and inspired by love. My truth is, I'm motivated and inspired by love. You know, that we can work through those differences that we might have. Because ultimately, at the core foundational level, our view of how we operate in a workplace, a friendship, or whatever it is, we do have similar philosophies about what we think is just and fair in a relationship, and we think that both people are coming from a place of love. So then it's easier to work through those differences that we might have, right? But with some of the people in our life, some people, their truth could be that it is like truth and love and justice and fairness and treating other people the way they like to be treated is what drives and motivates them. But we can get in a relationship with someone, or a friendship, or get a job, and we don't really realize that that's not their philosophy of life. That theirs is maybe a little bit more about them, a little bit more, maybe this is good for my ego and image, this is good for my stability, it makes me feel more balanced within myself. But I don't really, my truth is, I don't really align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. That isn't the driving factor in the decisions I make. It might be more about me, or I look like a shining star in the world, or this looks victorious or successful, or I do like to live more from my mind. You might like to live more from your heart to guide you. I might, shadowy Seven of Swords can be people who are kind of deceptive and manipulative. You know, some people are more authentic and are who they say they are. Other people can try to present themselves as like people who harness high vibe Virgo energy, which is, oh yeah, I'm stable, I'm grounded, I've learned lessons in life, I'm ready to move forward. And Virgo is represented by the Knight of Pentacles to become the King of Pentacles. And in high vibe, that's learning lessons in life, growing and maturing yourself, freeing yourself from things that manipulate you. And some people try to create the illusion that's who they are, and that people should want to be their friend, hire them to work together with them, that people should come work for them if they're the employer, and that they are this person who puts in this work and effort, has self-insight, self-awareness. That's high vibe Virgo. I'm not deceptive. I'm not manipulative. I'm not kind of more egotistical or think it's just and fair to be more about me in a relationship. Oh, I've healed from past situations. I'm ready to move forward in this new way. I'm not more codependent or still up in my head about a previous relationship. But they can be, whatever those things that are that they haven't healed from, or, that they don't want to show people, because anyone, male or female, can present themselves as a more stable, grounded, emotionally mature person and ready to move forward in a new beginning when they're really still haven't worked through some mental conflicts about some issues in their past that could still manipulate them. Whether that is their fear, their ego, their immature nature, self-centered nature, unhealed, whatever it is, right? And we get in those relationships with some people in our life, and then we kind of realize there can be a part of us that wishes that they would heal. The Four of Swords reflects on the Three of Swords to see the truth of it. And sometimes we can be in relationships with people, they're like, no, I don't want to deal with the truth of that. I might have past pain and heartbreak. I might be bossy, controlling, immature, egotistical, materialistic. I don't want to see the truth of any of it. But I want to maybe keep moving forward in the relationship because this works for me. This is a good investment. That's like shadowy Taurus energy. As long as it's good for my ego and my image and all that stuff, and you're willing to stay in it, try to keep working on the relationship, I'll keep staying in it. So long as you don't require me to deal with the truth, work through what I need to work through, I'll keep staying in a relationship with you. But if you do some work within yourself to work through some of the things that manipulated you, whatever it was when we first got into a job, a friendship, or a relationship, you had a way of viewing life. If during the course of that relationship, you start to invest some time, energy, and effort into working through some of your past pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs, and you kind of heal from some of those issues, well, then you're not in this energy anymore. And when people got in a relationship with you, to whatever degree of shadowy energy or more worldly focused energy you were in at that point in time, or a way of living life or viewing life, you're not the same person anymore. It's like you did shed an old layer of yourself, just like when we quit being more like a 15-year-old to be like an 18-year-old. It's like, I don't want to keep being like a 15-year-old anymore, for example. Well, then you're kind of moving forward, more balanced within yourself, love yourself, believe in yourself, call judgment on yourself. I'm not going to keep acting like a 15-year-old. I am ready to face my fears, to move forward and hold myself accountable in the judgment card to a higher standard of way of conducting myself, because my philosophy of life has changed and I am ready. Virgo in the Knight of Pentacles offers the Pentacle. I have learned these lessons in life. Let's add that to how we make decisions moving forward. And then some people don't like that because they don't plan to do that, and then they don't want to move forward with you in that way. And that can be confusing if some of those people previously they'd been working with us cooperatively in some type of relationship dynamic we had been in, and then they seem to be, I don't know, they don't want to work on the relationship anymore. Maybe feeling like they're being a little deceptive or manipulative or stubborn or unbudging or something. it's confusing and it's hurtful. And I think the high vibe people, considered, gee, I wanted this to work. And things that we've invested in, we would like them to work out. We had a dream we wanted to bring into reality. But high vibe people reflect on the truth that love is supposed to be just and fair, and you're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And if I feel like someone isn't doing that, do I want to keep staying in a relationship with them? And it can take a long time to go through that process, right? We can keep giving people the benefit of the doubt, keep trying to work on the relationship. We don't want to leave that job, that friendship, that relationship. But eventually, it's kind of doing a disservice to them, and it's a disservice to ourselves, because we all have free will, and the Pentacles can talk about who we invest our time, energy, and effort into. If I've been investing time, energy, and effort into people, and I'm being just and fair and loving and acting with character and integrity to try to bring this dream into reality, but they don't want to seem to do that, well, then they must have a different dream, right? Their idea of the dream relationship or workplace environment or friendship is kind of different than my idea. And my idea of what I think is just and fair in a relationship can be different than their idea of what it means to be just and fair in a relationship. People can be egotistical, self-interested, stubborn, prideful, more materialistic, ego-driven, and they justify it. So they, of course, think it's just and fair. And then a more shadowy Taurus-type relationship. High vibe is acting with character and integrity and walking the talk. But some people think, well, if I seem to have more of the things of the world that people want, I think I should kind of be the indulged person. The Four of Swords is where two people listening to their intuition, we both have our more loving and our more shadowy nature, but we maintain balance within ourselves so that together we make the Four of Swords, that we move forward, both taking responsibility for maintaining balance within ourselves between being more about ourselves and our loving nature, and we move forward in a just and fair, balanced way from love. And some people are like, that wasn't my idea of the dream relationship. My idea of the dream relationship is it's either more about me, or I don't really, love isn't what drives and motivates me. And it is more about ego and image and money and materialism, because shadowy Taurus energy can be about, I'm more motivated by those things of the world. It's more important to have a certain status or image in the world, or for me to be indulged in the relationship, because it's more about me. And some high vibe people are calling judgment on people. And they're not going to move forward with people who want them to move forward in harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way. They're going to let those people move forward, continuing to do that, but they can do it with someone else. And they're going to work through the pain and the heartbreak of it to love themselves, and then they're going to move forward in their philosophy of life, right? So what is the shadowy row? We have the World card. Some people can struggle within themselves, because if they close out, which is what the World can talk about, if I close out this chapter of my life, or living my life this way, or indulging myself in certain things to feel better, or staying in certain jobs, friendships, or relationships, if I don't keep doing that, well then I might have to, the Ace of Pentacles can be that I have to reveal the truth that this isn't where I want to keep, way I want to keep living my life, or the people I want to keep hanging out with, and I'd have to have a new beginning. The truth sets us free. Our Virgo nature goes within to see the truth. And if we add that one, so to get to the Seven of Pentacles, we did have the Six of Pentacles, which can mean that we were in some type of relationship where we were exchanging time, energy, and effort and resources with other people. And then we could work through some issues. Here we have the Three of Swords and the Moon, which can talk about our heartbreak and our fears and things like that, and listening to our intuition to go have that new beginning. We can always close out a certain job, friendship, or relationship and invest in listening to our intuition and healing. But then we could just take that time to heal from that past situation before we're really ready to go invest in something new. And when we've kind of worked through our fears and our insecurities about, we could have left one thing, we took time to work through the confusion of it, the pain and heartbreak of it, and that's kind of what we're investing our time and energy into. And then when we have completed that process emotionally, then we would add the one pentacle to the Seven of Pentacles, which gets us into Eight of Pentacles, Virgo energy. Taurus energy and Aquarius energy is fixed sign energy, and it's kind of like some of the zodiac sign traits and characteristics that we can tap into when we're in the midst of something, because they're fixed sign energy. You kind of tap into different zodiac sign traits and characteristics to get into something. But then when I'm in something, I'm kind of more aligned with my fixed sign, zodiac sign traits and characteristics, because I'm not trying to start something and I'm not trying to end something. I'm in the midst of putting in work and effort. And then Virgo and Pisces are the energies that help us transition out of things. And we have to work through the fact that something that we thought would be just and fair isn't just and fair, or my dream is different than their dream. My idea of what's just and fair is different than their idea of just and fair, and I could find it hurtful. But the moon can talk about, I can have fears about kind of loving and believing in myself. Because if I close out this thing and keep moving away from it, I'm going to go step into unknown territory. So the opposite of the moon is the sun, and kind of in our ego nature, because the sun in tarot is represented by Leo, which can be our ego nature, we all like to stay in our comfort zone. I know how this works. I know how these people work. I know how this job works. I've been here before. If I move forward in life differently, I'm stepping into unknown territory, which is the moon, and that's scary. I don't know how everything works over there because I've never been over there before. And then we have to do this work within ourselves to love and believe in ourselves that we do have the traits and characteristics and knowledge and skills and resources that we had. And then because of this life experience that we went through, we've learned more lessons. And the whole thing is, if we keep willing to get out of our ego and our fear to learn lessons in life and incorporate those lessons that we've learned into our decision making, we can be scared to go get a new friend, get in a new relationship, get a new job if we dealt with some kind of shadowy people in the past. Like, yeah, is there more shadowy people out there in the world? Yes. Is there more loving, balanced, just and fair, encouraging, authentic people in the world? Yes. And I have learned some valuable lessons about discerning between the two. And so then let's go back to this card. Oh, well, I guess if we add the one pentacle to the Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles typically is looking to the future. I am ready to look to the future and invest in my new beginning. But when we did get in a situation, and some people are just getting into a situation, they could get in a relationship with someone thinking they both have like the same dream, but the person they could get in a relationship with is kind of not showing that they might harness this energy in a more shadowy way, but it's sideways, which could mean that, they're not sure if they want to tip it upright. The Wheel of Fortune. So they're not sure if they are ready to move forward or not. And we can all be in that energy because we can all have fear that other people are like other people we've known, right? Some shadowy people in our life. So everybody can be listening to their intuition. Am I willing to get to know you? As I get to know you, I'm going to listen to my intuition about if I think you haven't learned some of the lessons I've learned. Having 4 swords is more truth than 3 swords. I want to see if you're more balanced or if you still struggle choosing between living more from your mind than your heart. Are you more ego-driven, materialistically driven, self-driven? Are you more stubborn? Are you someone who is more open to going with the flow, to get to know people and have a little more trust in yourself and your intuition? Or are you someone who's just creating an illusion for some reason, wanting to try to get people in a relationship with you, but you don't ever plan to be more just and fair and loving, right? So some people still have some mental conflict about just kind of going with the flow. Some people maybe still haven't really worked through some pain and heartbreak and fears and insecurities that they have, but they want to be in a relationship, kind of like that's the answer to my problems. I'm sure that will solve my pain, my heartbreak, and some of my fears and insecurities. But it doesn't. Anybody can be in a loving and encouraging and supportive environment, and it's great while you're in it. But do you do this work? Do you invest while you're in loving and encouraging and supportive environments to work through some of your past pain and heartbreak and your fears and insecurities so that you can close out that chapter in your life and move forward in life differently? And for some people, that is not their truth. They don't ever look to themselves. And Virgo energy is about doing this inner work within themselves. And some people are like, well, no, that's not my job. I look to all these things outside of myself. I look to drugs or booze or sex or gambling or getting in a relationship or making more money or having more status or image. That's how I make myself feel better. Well, those things are like short-term fixes, right? If you really want to free yourself from things that manipulate you, because that makes you more codependent on those things that you look to outside of yourself. How about you do the work within yourself so that you are free of those things that manipulate you, and then you can move forward in life differently. But some people don't want to deal with the truth. They could have pain and heartbreak they don't want to deal with. Fear, insecurity. They could be prideful. They could be stubborn. They could be narcissistic. Whatever it is, they don't want to maybe deal with the truth of it. So it's always to try to get other people to invest in them. And then it's like, you're supposed to make me feel better. You are supposed to be the answer to my problems. Well, it doesn't work like that, right? Initially, you can get in a relationship and it all feels like sunshine and roses, maybe, endorphins running. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. And oh my gosh, I've had a new beginning. And oh my gosh, it looks like I've moved on. And oh my gosh, I'm not even upset about that other person anymore or other situation anymore. But if they haven't dealt with these issues are still buried beneath the surface. And then if those things kind of bubble back up again, things that they thought, oh no, I finished those things because I went and got in this new relationship or I started drinking more or whatever, Well, those things bubble back up again. Here I am. You thought, you had put an end to me, but I'm still here. And that's what some people don't want to see the truth of. Damn. Why don't those things just go away? Why do those things keep plaguing me? Because you don't deal with them. You don't, Virgo energy is about going within to shed light and love on it. I'm going to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to myself for being a fallible human being. I've made lots of mistakes in my life. I've been more immature. I've been more stubborn. I've been more prideful, egotistical, self-centered, lazy. Look at the whole list of what could be shadowy energy. Have we done all those things? No, hopefully not. Because some people in the world are atrocious, But if we don't want, love is the answer. Virgo goes within to see the truth that it's learning these lessons in life, and love is the answer. I'm going to offer love to myself. Other people maybe didn't. Well, that's life in the world of people with a dualistic nature with free will. Some of them are going to be just and fair and warm and loving and encouraging, and some of them aren't. And some of those people chose to do this work to deal with some of their past pain and heartbreak, to be a more just and fair and stable and grounded and act with character and integrity person, and some of them didn't. And I can either be someone who also doesn't, and I keep repeating this pattern just like they did, some people in my life, or I decide I don't want my past pain and heartbreak and the fact that there's this shadowy energy that exists in a world of duality, which we kind of look at high vibe energy as being represented by God and shadowy energy represented by the devil. I don't think you have to be religious to kind of wrap your brain around this philosophy that we seem to live in a world of duality and people have free will to choose this or choose that. But it's a way of describing it. I myself believe in a higher power, but, to each their own, whatever you want to think. But the fact is, there are people in the world, and we can't make everybody in the world change. We can offer people truth and love. Does that mean we have to get in a more involved relationship with them? No, because I've probably already done that. And until other people have done this work to kind of learn some of the same lessons I've learned and to be where they really are more balanced within themselves, treat other people the way they like to be treated, have learned to act with some more stability and character and integrity, I've learned not to invest in people like that anymore, where before I might have been more drawn and attracted to getting in relationships with people like that. Why? The moon can talk about we have things buried in our subconscious. We are drawn and attracted to certain people because it's all trying to get us to heal and see the truth. And if some people are still dealing with some issues that they need to work on, they might spend the rest of their life working on some issues in their life that isn't something that manipulates you the way it does them. So we wish them peace. We've all had our own little bit, shadowy energy, again, kind of represented by the devil, can be these things that are our own little cross to bear that we had to overcome, or big crosses to bear. But we've all got our ego nature. We've all got our more immature, shadowy, selfish, I'd like to be indulged, I like it all about me, if that's how we view life. And we all just have our past pain and heartbreak and our fears and our insecurities of change and growing up and facing our fears, so it's kind of... So we just wish peace to people and so that we can let it go. Everybody is where they're at. Everybody's going to live their life the way they live it. I can't control them. I can't change them. I can't make them view life differently. I've had to learn my lessons the hard way. They're going to have to learn some lessons the hard way. And I choose to be in an energy of peace and love, and those are the people I want to invest my time and energy into. I am done getting in relationships with people who are kind of more deceptive or manipulative or stubborn or prideful or more about their ego or their image than love as a driving factor in their life. Because then I'm heartbroken because I'm in a relationship that's more like an illusion. And I want to do love. And I have to see the truth that not everybody wants to do love because you could get hurt doing love. And some people prefer to live more from their mind and their more defensive, egoic nature where they let their ego kind of run their life and they don't let their more hopeful, believing, loving nature out to play in the world. And they can make that free will choice that they want. But I don't want to invest or heal a relationship with them. Because I've already been in relationships like that. And until people are more, I meet someone and people are working together with me more in this type of energy, then I'm going to enjoy my life with the people in my life and my job and my career and my own interest and just enjoying life. If I don't have a romantic interest in my life that is on that same page as me. And I want to be free that when there is someone who is more on the same page as me, that I don't have to get out of maybe a relationship that I shouldn't have gotten into to begin with to go get in a new relationship. Because I am, the Seven of Pentacles can be, I'm being careful about who I invest my time, energy, and effort into. Because I don't want to get myself in something I shouldn't be in. And why would I be tempted to get myself in a relationship that I really shouldn't be in? Maybe out of heartbreak and fear and worried if my dreams are going to come into reality. Well, High Vibe Taurus is walking the talk. I have some hope and faith and belief in myself and in my dreams. And my dream can't come into reality with people who aren't on the same page as me. So how about we have a little hope and faith and belief that, it's these things about synchronicity and chance. You can read stories about, these, how people met or how, whatever, Part of my dream is to have stability and security in my life. Instead of being more codependent on somebody for stability and security, I'm going to get stable and grounded within myself. And I'm going to put work and effort into having stability and security in my own life that I manifest myself. I've been given unique talent, skills, and interests. That's what Virgo energy is also about. You have your unique talent, skills, and interests that you can use and invest in, because those were given to you as a gift for you to use to have stability and security within your own life. Let's go look at this card here. The Strength card, which is Leo energy. We can also know some people in our life or have been in relationships with some people in our life that we're kind of hiding, that they do kind of operate more from their pride or their ego nature and might try to more manipulate people to get them to do what they want in a relationship. And they might be people who don't reject high vibe Leo energy. High vibe Leo energy is being loving and warm and authentic and encouraging and supportive authentically, because that's the truth of who you are. And again, some people try to create an illusion. I harness high vibe Aquarius, Leo, Pisces, Libra, Cancer, Taurus. All of my earth sign energies, I'm all in on having hope and faith and belief in myself, in my dreams, and in love. But for some people, that is not the truth. Their more worldly nature is in the driver's seat of their life. And that's what drives the decisions in their life. But they hide that truth from people, trying to deceive and confuse people about the truth of what they think is just and fair and what they are aligned with within themselves in their philosophy of life. And we come into relationships with people like that. Could some of them seem, and in a lot of ways, be loving and encouraging and supportive? Yes, but it might be for an ulterior purpose, that so long as it's a good investment, well, so long as this works for me and benefits me in some way, it's not really because I'm invested in you and I love you and I want to be friends with you or work with you long term. So long as it's good for me now and it works out for me now, I'll be in the relationship. But if something else comes along or things change and now I would actually have to do it more because I just love you, well, how am I going to benefit in the world? Like, do I even want to keep really being your friend? Maybe you don't live here anymore. Do I want to keep talking to you and being friends with you and staying connected with you? How does this benefit me? Because you're not here and it isn't doing anything for my ego or my image. So to them, it could feel like it's a waste of time. Where other people were like, well, I thought we were friends and we liked each other and it's just nice to stay in touch and I love you. I was like, no. And so, you can be friends in friendships or relationships with people for quite a long time and not really realize that they're just a little bit maybe more about themselves. And that's all painful and hard to deal with because you feel someone was hiding that they're kind of just a little bit more about themselves and it wasn't more a reciprocal relationship based on love. Well, and the whole thing is, are we going to let that stop us from investing in other people? You know what? I'm going to enjoy my life. And who knows at any point in time when people are going to drift off or, whatever. I'm just going to enjoy my life. I'm going to listen to my intuition. And when I see the truth that people might not be who I thought they were, I can heal. I can pick myself back up again and I can let some people go if they need to kind of distance myself from them if I need to. But some other people could have people they should distance themselves from and things that manipulate them. And what manipulates them could, again, be their fear, their insecurity, their defensiveness to love, their ego, other people in their life. And if those things manipulate them, they're not maybe willing to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And then they reject kind of and push away the people in their life that align with their more hopeful, believing nature because that's not what they're aligned with. So they'll align with people who are more aligned with their shadowy energy. So what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Virgo energy? They're listening to their intuition about, why am I invested in these things? Why are some of the people in my life invested in me? Is it love? Do I need to pause and rethink about why I'm doing what I'm doing? Do I need to give some more careful consideration about some of the people I'm investing in? Is this based on truth and love, or what is it? The Chariot card. Why? Because of the King of Swords. So when we do that work within ourselves, we want to get to the truth, which is what the King of Swords, also Libra energy about the scales of justice. I want to know the truth. I don't want to get caught up in illusion. I don't want to be manipulated by my ego. I don't want other people manipulating me. I want justice and fairness. And when you do that within yourself, it helps get you in the driver's seat of your own life. And the Chariot is Cancer energy about love, self-love, home and family, about the dualistic nature that I want to move forward in life based on truth and love and justice and fairness. And that isn't other people's truth. Well, this makes logical, practical sense. We should stay in this relationship. It looks good. It looks victorious. It's like, go do that with someone else. If your reason for wanting to be in a relationship with me isn't based on being just and fair and truthful and acting with character and integrity and motivated by love, then you can go find someone else to be in a relationship with. And I'm going to stand up because the masculine figures can just represent how we take action in the world and how we're presenting ourselves. And so you're protecting your more loving nature, and people that are more aligned with your shadowy energy that would be in a relationship with you if you were in more shadowy energy, they want you to defend being in a relationship that looks like love, but it's more about the ego and the image. It makes logical, practical sense. This looks good. And it's like, but it looks like love, but it's not love. It, makes logical, practical sense, but it's not really love. People are hiding that they're kind of operating from their ego nature. And there's people who would like to be in a relationship with you, maybe. But if you require people to speak the truth now, where maybe before, people were able to use your loving nature or your want for these things to work out to kind of manipulate you, you've seen how that manipulates you. So now you've learned to love and believe in yourself and stand up for yourself. You're maintaining balance within yourself. 2 cards of maintaining balance. And other people would maybe like to be in a relationship with you, but because you're in that energy from a place of truth and love, it's just like energetically you're giving off an energy where people know, shit, that person's healed. Shit, I can't manipulate them or control them or tempt them more in their lust or their greed or their pride or their ego or their competitive nature, or use their past pain and heartbreak to manipulate them because they've healed from it. So it just kind of energetically keeps certain people away from you now once you've kind of gone through that process, because you're not in this energy anymore. Oh, I'm not really clear about my truth, and I don't know if I love and believe in myself. I don't know if I really want to stand up for myself. I don't know what's just and fair. I don't know, this does make logical, practical sense. And you're clear about your truth now. And if people want to invest in you, they have to be in that energy, because that's the only way your dream can come into reality, is other people that harness high vibe Aquarius, Libra, Cancer, Taurus, building a foundation on a philosophy that truth and love and character and integrity are the guiding principles for the decisions that I make. Treating other people the way I would like to be treated. And there's some people that are like, that's not my thing. I'll have to go find someone else to get in a relationship with. Okay, so what's going on for some people right now who don't want to go with the flow? And going with the flow is where you kind of are willing to learn lessons in life. And some people are like, no, that would require me to temper my prideful nature, my ego nature, my defensive nature, my immature, self-indulgent, materialistic, whatever nature. And I am not doing that. Well, some of those people could be sad, but they also don't want to see the truth about why other people maybe don't want to invest in them. And why some people quit investing in them and moved on. Well, I guess if you're not willing to see how you're kind of immature or egotistical or whatever, think you should be indulged in a relationship because you indulge yourself and you think it's just and fair, you think other people should indulge you, why don't they? And some people will constantly be confused all their life why things don't work out the way they want, because they don't want to see the truth that other people have tempered their more egoic, immature, full of themselves, self-pity nature to be more just and fair and balanced and mature within themselves. The 7 of Swords and the 3 of Swords and the 3 of Swords and all that, they're like minor arcana, kind of like pages who have learned some lessons in life. But after the pages and the minor arcana, then we have, kind of the knights and the kings and the queens and the emperor and the empress and the hierophant and the high priestess. Some of these people are kind of quite immature in their thinking, logic, and reasoning, that they're not even a knight. And other people are kings and aligned with the divine, because the chariot is like a major arcana. There's just some people that really have some more lessons to learn in life. And some of them right now don't want to see the truth of it. So they're going to repeat a pattern, just like we have all done, until they do decide to love themselves and get in the driver's seat of their life and hold themselves and other people accountable. And they might have to go through some heartbreaking situations in their life, just like the rest of us did, to learn these lessons and appreciate when they have people in their life who are loving and encouraging and treat them in a just and fair way. And they're like dismissive of it. I want more, because that's shadowy energy. Like, enough is never enough. I'm going to go find someone because I have this illusion that I don't have to heal or grow and mature myself. I'm going to go find someone who does appreciate me and does indulge me. It's like, you go. Good luck. What's coming up for some people who are in some shadowy energy? Some people have been deceptive and manipulative and hurtful and unkind because they have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And they're trying to hide from the world the truth. So they go do other things, they get in other relationships, they go get other jobs or do whatever to try to confuse people so other people don't see the truth of who they are. But as other people move forward in an emotionally balanced, just, fair, stable, grounded way, and they're not taking action more out of pride and insecurity and fear and immaturity and lust and greed, you can hide the truth from some of the people in the world, but you can't hide the truth from all the people. And as time goes by and people kind of see how some actions that some people are taking, eventually people might I don't think you're telling the truth. Didn't you say this and this and this, and that person seems to be moving forward like this, but yet you seem to be doing this? Some people are trying to create the illusion that they were the person heartbroken, but they were the one who didn't want to move forward in a loving, nurturing, emotionally balanced relationship or workplace because they had to get out of their ego and they weren't willing to do it, or it wasn't more about them and they didn't like it. And so then it's to try to confuse people about the truth of why that didn't move forward victoriously, or use oh no, I'm not moving forward with you in a relationship. The next people they get in a relationship, because I am fearful because these other things happened. But that's just an illusion. Some people just want to be in a relationship. The Seven of Pentacles can be, I don't really know if I want to invest in it. So I'm creating an illusion that I have these fears or these insecurities, or I was heartbroken before, and that's why I'm not moving forward in this one. And that's when some other people in their life could be like, you know what, while you think about it, I'm going to let you have that time to think about it, and I am willing to move on. And that can be what some people don't see coming, because if they think, oh no, I don't think they'll end it. No, I think they'll keep staying in it. I think they want this to work. And as long as they are willing to not see through the illusion, I'll keep investing in them and indulging myself in it, but I'm never really going to move forward and bring justice to the situation. It's kind of like hiring someone for a job and promising them that they'll be able to move up and take on more responsibility and make more money, basically like a relationship where there will be more abundance in it. And they're like, no, that's never going to happen. And eventually, just like people in a job, it's like, I thought things were going to move forward and I seem like I've been doing things and things are going well. Why am I not being promoted? And then they kind of realize, wait a minute, this is never going to happen, is it? You were lying. And I'm not going to keep investing in this job if things don't move forward the way it would be normally expected to progress. And the same thing happens in relationships. And then some of the shadowy people would create an illusion about that person and play the victim or something. Be surprised that they weren't willing to keep investing in them, because by worldly standards it looked so victorious and successful. Why wouldn't they want to stay in a relationship with them? What's coming up for some people who harness some shadowy, more worldly Virgo energy? The Three of Wands, the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, and the World card. And the reason that came up is because of the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups, like the moon, is Pisces energy. Some of you could have been dealing with a Pisces. But all of us in our Pisces energy, Pisces, this Pisces card is a Knight. Up here, we have the Chariot, a much more mature emotional energy. In our own Pisces energy, people can be more immature, got some lessons to learn. Again, could have some illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. Could love being in new relationships. But they also could love being a little bit more about themselves, because the Three of Wands is Aries energy, and Aries energy is about the self. And they have this dream that they are going to be happy, backstabbing their more inner child nature that would like them to close out this old cycle of life and move forward in life. No, because then I'd have to step out of my comfort zone. Then I'd have to have more hope and faith and belief in myself and in others and in love, and I don't. That's not my truth. So in all three of their earth sign energies of Virgo and Taurus and Capricorn, they're more motivated by the world. And they're willing, their own more aspect of self that harnesses this energy in a more high vibrational way, being inspired by love, closing out chapters in their life, moving forward in life, learning lessons. No, they've detached from that. So kind of their more immature worldly nature is what is kind of moving forward in their life. And as they harness this energy in a more shadowy way, there's always going to be more high vibrational people in their life, friends, family members, whoever, that have been offering them love and encouragement. But when they see that they keep repeating kind of some immature actions, or they kind of see through the illusion that basically nothing's ever going to change, this just keeps going round and round. You never disconnect and look at some of the ways of being of how you view life to see what things should go and what things you should take forward with you. Because they want to hold on to everything. They have nothing they want to let go of. And again, that analogy, when we were 15, we lived life a certain way. If we're going to move forward and be more like an 18-year-old, we have to put away some of our more childish, immature ways of being. And some of these people, they don't want to get rid of anything. And part of it can be because they're happy living their life the way they live it. And that's when some of the other people in their life realize things aren't ever going to change. And the only person they can change is themselves. And they realize this relationship isn't going to move forward any differently than it has been moving forward. And they could feel it's not very loving. Like their own hopeful, believing inner child nature is getting backstabbed, staying in a relationship with these people. And they're not willing to keep not kind of like growing to their full potential. So they're going to be done offering them love and investing in them. And some of the high vibe people in their life are going to move on. And then what they don't see coming, they might not see that coming. Oh shit, another person has more hope and faith and belief in themselves and loves themselves and is standing up for themselves. And I don't ever do that to my own shadow nature and the people and the world that manipulates me. Shit, another person left. But they're sure that the way they live their life and the way they think that that's the way, that's going to make them happy. They don't want to have to get out of their ego and learn any lessons in life. They don't want to close out an old phase of life. They like that old phase of life. But it's kind of like somebody perpetually staying like a 15 or an 18-year-old, and they don't want to grow up. And other people do. So they keep living this old pattern. Other people move on. And yeah, there'll probably be other people who want to be in a relationship with them. People are looking to get in relationships. Other people will go apply for that job. And the same thing will probably happen to those people, and those people have their free will choice to keep staying in it. And some of those people who might stay in it might be other people who don't really believe in love, who also kind of don't have that hopeful, believing spirit, also don't want to learn lessons in life. And if they're both willing to make their life more about this illusion of how just and fair and loving their life is, but it could be that both people stay in it because they have fear and insecurity of living their more authentic life or having a new beginning. Both people could be in a relationship creating an illusion of how wonderful it is that they've had this new beginning. But it could be other people too who were in relationships with people who wanted them to heal or grow and mature themselves. And they're like, yeah, no, I think I'll go get in a relationship with someone who's more on the same page as me. But that would be a just and fair relationship. What's unjust and unfair is for someone who isn't more emotionally mature, loving, balanced, act with character and integrity, to try to get someone who is to move forward in a relationship trying to present it as being something it's not. At least if they're in a relationship with someone who's more on the same page as them, they could both be manipulative and deceptive. They could both be kind of immature. They could both be people more secretly driven more by their ego and their image or their lust or their greed than love. And then that would be a just and fair relationship. And they'll either keep moving forward in that type of relationship, which is one that other people had been in, but that wasn't their truth and they wanted to get out of it. It's like, hey, you knocked your socks off. Hope you enjoy your life. It wasn't for me. But if that's your truth, to each their own. But a more shadowy relationship can be that people are hiding. I am more driven by my ego. It's a little bit more about me, my wants, my needs, my lust, my greed, my pride, my ego. If it's not love, love is what you build a solid foundation on. Well, they could get in a relationship with someone who might, either one of them would maybe be people who would be willing to end the relationship if someone came along that had more money, ego, image, social clout, more willing to indulge them. Because if they are people that are just more about themselves, and it's not based on truth and love anyway, it was a foundation that looked like love, but it wasn't a foundation built on love. Or it's a much more immature love. And maybe codependent. And if the other person or they meet someone else, well, wait. No, if anybody learns lessons in this relationship, again, the other person could leave because, well, I don't want to learn lessons. Well, I don't want to. If they both get in relationships where neither one of them wants to learn lessons, well, I guess they could both be kind of heartbroken that they could have gotten in a relationship with someone that kind of lives life like they do. And they both could be heartbroken because shadowy people can always be looking for other people to kind of be the more codependent person. And they both kind of like to be the boss and the center of attention. That's also shadowy Taurus relationship. And it always could be a battle kind of between them and kind of an ego battle because neither one is willing to be the more codependent person. And if you're not both operating from love, well, then you just have people that are battling with each other, but because it looks good by societal standards, maybe they'll keep staying in it, even though as maybe time goes by, they don't even want to be in a relationship with those people anymore. But if the most important thing is that you have a certain image in the world or a certain status in the world, and that person's willing to stay in a relationship with them, they'd maybe stay in it. And, that's what they had the free will choice to manifest, and for some of them, that's what they will manifest. Other people are like, if it's not truth and love and character and integrity, I don't want to be in a relationship or maybe with certain people. I'll be in friendships. I'll enjoy my job. I'll enjoy my career. because I don't want to live a life of illusion and hide that I'm heartbroken. So there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.